I invite you to come up, our wonderful youth from the University of Geneva and the Albert School. I'll introduce you in a moment. To move on to, I think, one of the most anticipated moments of RightsX, because not only do we bring the youth voice here and an interesting provocation, but we also ground ourselves back again in the notion of innovation and why we are doing this, and that remind ourselves that innovation just isn't about tools and technologies, but it's about human presence, clarity, and the quality of attention that we bring to our work. So in that vein, I would like to introduce the motion, and I think let me first get on stage Philip Stoll, our moderator from the ICRC, who spent, I think, at least 3 decades navigating the ethics of technology in humanitarian contexts. And the motion we're debating today is: this House believes that humanity should fully trust and deploy AI to preempt and prevent mass atrocities. And this is some of the work that you've been doing yourself. This is not really an abstract question. It is the question at the heart of prevention in the 21st century, in the modern world. The urgency to act early, and our own early warning team is actively trying to do this both here and in New York. The risk of bias and abuse, the promise of prediction, the peril of overreach, all collide here. Who better to debate this than those that will inherit the consequences of our decisions, sadly, maybe, or hopefully. So we are joined from these students from the University of Geneva and the Albert School, who will, in a mixed team, in the spirit of collaboration, argue for and against the motion. So for the motion, I think we'll have you on this side: André Knuchel, Lara Siebenhaar, and Asal Abedini. Please join us in the 3 seats next to Philippe. And against the motion, Hsin-Yu, Jasmine, Ghafar, and Charles Beck. Please join on this side, and I hand over the floor to you, Philippe.
Thank you very much. I have to say that I have this difficult task to come after such an interesting moment, and also I thank very much Amy to make me look younger than I am. It's 2 decades, not 3, but yeah, maybe I do too much mindfulness, so that's why I look young. But I'm very thrilled and very happy to be here. I think it's very exciting to have a possibility to take some time to reflect and have some space for different arguments. And I hope you had a good coffee, that you were inspired by the beautiful sunrise this morning, because we'll need you a little bit. Don't worry, not too much, but still there will be a little bit of interactions between us and you. As Amy mentioned, we have an Oxford-style debate, which means that we'll go through a certain process that I will explain. But we have a very interesting question, that how much AI can help to preempt and prevent mass atrocities. And I guess that's why the organizers asked the ICRC to be in the moderations, because I guess that only the ICRC can be neutral enough not to take side between these 2 great group of panelists and researchers. The format is quite straightforward. One person will start to speak in favor of the motion, and then another one will go and argue against it. The second one will build on the proposition case, rebuild the opposition, and introduce new arguments. The fourth one will do the other way around, so build on the opposition case and try to rebut the previous proposition in favor. And the 2 final ones, one in favor and one against, will make kind of a summary in favor or against, but there will be no new argument. Each of them will have 5 minutes, and as the son of a Swiss watchmaker, I'll be strict to the point. But Yeah, I think it's quite straightforward, simple. As I said, you will have a role, no obligation, but still we hope that it's also a format that will give you a space to think, but also to participate. You will have at the end 5 minutes to ask questions, make comments. Again, I will be quite strict because we want this to be dynamic. And the team has been already presented. They are a multidisciplinary team, and I think this is also something that is exciting. We have people with a background in law, European and international law, African studies, data science, innovation, etc. So I think the idea that the organizers have to bring this multidisciplinary team was very interesting. But before we dive into the substance, we'd like to have your first opinion without listening to the argument. And you have 3 options. Are you in favor? Are you against? Or are you undecided? So I want to test a little bit how this house, if I can call it that way, this prestigious house, which has a strong history, sees the motion. So the question, this house believes that humanity should fully trust and deploy AI to preempt and prevent mass atrocities. So I'm not taking notes, just seeing who is in favor. Okay, good luck to the team. Oh, okay. Okay, good. Who is against? And who is undecided? Okay, good. You have a little bit of space to try to bring some people on the other side. So, without further ado, it's my great pleasure to introduce Lara Siebenhaar, who is a master's student in international and European law at the University of Geneva. And you have 5 minutes.
Chairman. In the case of Ratko Mladic at the ICTY, over 10,000 exhibits were admitted into evidence. Imagine the time and human resources needed to go through all of that. Now imagine a machine-based system capable of processing it accurately, without fatigue or preconceived views. After only a few days, it could give the human in control the tools necessary to either convict or set the accused free. The system may sound futuristic, but it already exists. It can do far more than just intelligence search through incriminating documents. No, I believe that if employed correctly, artificial intelligence can preempt and prevent mass atrocities. But before I continue convincing you of today's motion, which I see will be a bit difficult, but I will try, it's my honor to introduce your speakers this morning. Speaking first for the opposition is Jasmine Ghafar, a master's student in African Studies at the University of Geneva. For the proposition, and on my team, is Asal Abedini, a business and data science student at Albert School. Next, speaking for the opposition, is Hsin-Yu, a master's student in innovation, human development, and sustainability at the University of Geneva. And then for the proposition again, we will hear from André Knuchel, a data science student at Albert School. And finally, to conclude, Charles Beck, a master's student in data and finance at Albert School. Mr. Chairman, these are your guests and they are most welcome. So, let us first take a step back and start by defining the notions mass atrocities and artificial intelligence as a good law student would, and also so that we have a common understanding. Mass atrocities does not have a formal legal definition. It commonly refers to the 4 crimes against which UN member states affirm their responsibility to protect. So it's genocide, war crimes, ethnic cleansing, and crimes against humanity. Artificial intelligence, and I'm taking elements out of the EU AI Act to explain, is a machine-based system that can operate with varying levels of autonomy, that can be adapted after deployment, so to become more fair or more accurate, and can, from the input it receives, the data, generate outputs such as predictions or recommendations. So let me explain why trusting AI to prevent mass atrocities isn't just reasonable, it's necessary. Because the sheer volume of information that is generated alone through the use of mobile phones and social media has far outpaced our ability to review and analyze it with traditional methods. So not trusting AI what it does best, namely making sense of big unstructured data and provide us with insights that we might otherwise just not have, would be plain irresponsible. Let me give you a few real-world examples to illustrate my premise. VFrame, a German startup, uses computer vision trained on synthetic data to sift through millions of photos and videos for evidence of illegal cluster munitions in Syria and Yemen. In Mexico, data scientists trained a machine learning model on newspaper, radio reports, and combined it with geographic and socio-demographic data to predict which counties were more likely to contain hidden mass graves and uncover them. But AI can not only help uncover mass atrocity crimes ex post. A well-trained model can analyze news reports and social media posts or metadata to flag escalating hate speech and detect early signs of dehumanization before genocide or ethnic cleansing begins. And all of these tasks and more would take human years to accomplish. With machine learning models, they can take days. And the human using AI does the job more accurately, more consistently, and with far fewer financial resources than the human without it ever could. And who doesn't welcome efficiency, especially in times of budget cuts? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lara. I think you were on time, exactly 5 minutes. Well done. Very happy. I'm very thrilled also to give now the floor to Jasmine to see what argument she has against this proposal.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for this invitation. It is an honor to speak here today. Our opponents delivered the hopeful speech in favor of AI, but allow me to introduce a touch of human skepticism. Ladies and gentlemen, the motion highlights a key expression, fully trust. So let us remind ourselves what trust truly means in our context. Many philosophers describe it as the belief that someone will do the right thing for the right reasons. Trust involves morality, responsibility, and intention. But in a world where altruism is increasingly rare, a world where many of us do not even trust each other, how can we be expected to place full trust in AI or in the people behind it? This is about our future, and just like the discovery of nuclear fission was weaponized, AI is being weaponized too. And we are, unfortunately, approaching midnight on the doomsday clock. This is why today we reject the idea that humanity should fully trust AI and deploy it to preempt and prevent mass atrocities. As we know, human beings, or should I say human doings, are capable of extraordinary things, building civilizations, founding nations, but we are also capable of destroying them. And this is why we should not forget one essential truth. AI is a human copying machine. It learns from us. So if humans are imperfect, then AI trained on human data will be imperfect as well. And in risk management, zero risk does not exist. And today, 70% of experts express concern about AI's evolution over the next 18 months. And even if we try to narrow its training field to reduce bias, humans still design those filters. That means there will always be a door for corruption, manipulation, and mistakes. But of course, we cannot deny AI's potential. Some technologies can intercept attacks or react at speeds humans never could. But to trust it fully, we should be honest. And history teaches us the danger of removing humans from final decisions. Let's go back to 1962, during the Cuban Missile Crisis. A Soviet submarine, B-59, believed that nuclear war had already begun. And according to protocol, 3 officers had to agree to launch a nuclear torpedo. 2 men said yes, but only 1 man refused, Vasily Arkhipov. His patience and caution prevented a nuclear catastrophe. Now, let's imagine that decision made by an AI system. It would have acted only on the data it had. We are under attack, we have to retaliate. And the world would not be the same today. This is why AI should remain a tool to assist humans, but not an agent able to make its own decisions. Because AI cannot replace the human capacity for doubt and responsibility, and we will all agree about that, especially when human lives are on the line. Moreover, countries or corporations could use the enormous volume of collected data to fuel massive disinformation campaigns, manipulate public opinion, influence elections, and this can destabilize entire nations and undermine human rights. Our opponent mentioned how AI could collect information before a war can begin, but we should not be naive. The most advanced AI systems will not be shared equally. Their creators will keep them, creating dependency and widening global inequalities. And today, 118 countries are not even involved in AI governance, and developing or least developed countries cannot invest in AI when they struggle to provide water, hospitals, electricity, and basic commodities. Meanwhile, powerful nations may destabilize others to secure resources and maintain their supremacy. We can also imagine an AGI that could analyze geopolitical, economic, and biological factors, recommending neutral decisions. What would prevent dominant countries from ignoring its directives and the resolutions of the UN? Nothing. So to conclude quickly, fully trusting AI means placing human rights in the hand of systems we cannot hold for accountable, and that is a risk that humanity cannot afford.
Thank you very much for this counter-argument. Now, Asal, can you reply to that?
Honorable chairs, distinguished participants. Honorable chairs, distinguished participants, and everyone who can hear us and be heard by us. I'm honored to contribute to this assembly. Let me begin with the question. Can you tell whether this speech was written entirely by me or with the support of our AI? Most people cannot. And that uncertainty shows how deeply AI has already entered our daily lives. As a data student, I have seen how quickly the world is transforming. Only a year ago, many students viewed data science and AI as a distant or optional fields. Today, they influence education, system, public understanding, and economic opportunities. Change has shifted from gradual to immediate, and AI accelerates this change for all of us. So what exactly is AI? And why are we addressing it in this form? Artificial intelligence is not a technology. It's already embedded in a communication system, public administration, and global monitoring tool. Think of AI as fast-moving train. It does not slow down. It does not wait. The question is not whether this train will arrive. It already has. The real question is, can global governance system, including the United Nations, keep pace with it? If our goal is to predict and prevent mass atrocities, action must begin now. Early detection depends on reliable data, timely analysis, and coordinated response. Tomorrow may not provide the opportunity we need. This is not a warning, it's a responsibility. History shows that delayed information leads to delayed action. In several past crises, warning signs appeared in data long before that we recognized. AI can detect such signals earlier, process them at a scale, and provide insight that human alone cannot achieve. And importantly, AI offers a level of neutrality and consistency that no single human mind can ever maintain. Not because humans are flawed, but because humans are limited by perspective, experience, and cognitive capacity. This makes AI valuable, complement, and not replacement. The world now needs better tools, transparent algorithm, and high-quality data. No human team, regardless of expertise, can manually process millions of data points fast enough to guide global action. AI can support us in enhancing human judgment rather than replacing it. Of course, AI also carries risk, bias, and unequal access. This is exactly why global oversight is essential. Therefore, my recommendation is clear to our delegate. The United Nations should develop the independent, transparent AI system specifically designed to detect risk, analyze emerging patterns, and support the prevention of mass atrocities. AI is not here to replace humanity. It's here to strengthen humanity, capacity to act. That's what we needed. So let me close with this. The AI train is moving forward. If we want safer world, we must learn to guide it. Responsibility, ethnically, and together, the time is now. So let's please act now. Thank you. Asal, Abedini.
Thank you very much, being even faster than 5 minutes. You were quite concise. Now, the counter arguments to these second in favor arguments. Hsin-Yu for the second part.
Hello, everyone. My name is Hsin-Yu. I come from University of Geneva. And thank you for all of the speech. And much of what we just heard from the proposition team, give us this assumption that AI system can be safely and reliable to trust at scale. But I really want to challenge this assumption and extend our opposition case from a more technical perspective. As a computer science major during my bachelor, I want to be very clear that artificial intelligence is not perfect, and it's not an independent model actor as well. It is a system which is built, turned, and controlled by humans, which will often by small teams of engineers that could face political or institutional pressure. The proposition asks us to fully trust the autonomy depends on all the system in the most fragile and violent context on the earth, which is in the conflict. From a technical perspective, that level of trust is not just unjustified, it's very dangerous. Since AI systems using AI systems for early warning or prediction relies on three things: models, data, and thresholds. And in conflict zones, none of them are stable. As data are often incomplete, manipulated, or politically shaped, and social media are also weaponized, and states reporting may be biased, satellite data may be lack of ground truth. All these uncertainties will lead to a very uncertain AI model that might give us a wrong prediction based on this wrong data. Even though the model can learn and improve over time, yet in mass atrocities, there's no technological failures. They are all political decisions made by human actors that would adopt them intentionally. For example, independent UN investigations have shown that algorithm context ranking while deploying without safeguard can amplify hate speech and contribute to real-world violence. And crucially, the threshold that defines count as high risk can be adjusted. From an engineering point of view, a single parameter change can suddenly label an entire community as a threat. How can we label an innocent resident as a threat if we just get the wrong data from a random sources in the conflict? So when we say fully trust AI, that's not trusting intelligence. We're trusting the powers that we cannot see. And this is where the risk becomes higher and higher. First, since the systems are manipulated, any kind of AI deployed in real world can be vulnerable. And for example, for armed groups, states, and even political actors have strong incentives to poison data, generate false signs, and hide real ones. Second, engineers can modify model easily. We can retain data, we can turn in weights, we can adjust the threshold without public transparency. Otherwise, we publish this, and public, they might understand, they don't understand as well. So the vulnerable population have no way to see, contest, or even appeal to these changes. Third, once the institutions are told to fully trust AI, automation bias are set. Human analysis diverts machine outputs. They oversee, weakens, responsibility becomes very difficult to track. Finally, since these systems are inherited dual use, a system built to detect risk can be reproduced into surveillance with minimum modification. We have already seen this in mass civil surveillance, or like predicting policies, and sorry, and algorithm amplify targeting of minorities. So from a technical point of view, fully trust doesn't reduce harm. It creates a fast, non-transparent pathway for large-scale harm or discrimination.
You have 10 seconds.
Oh, no, it's
You're
good.
done. Okay, great. Fantastic. Thank you so much. You turn off your microphone. And allow me to turn mine on. This is the last chance for the team in favor of this proposition. No pressure on you. André, you have 5 minutes.
Thank you. To everyone here, thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to this debate. It's probably one of the most important topics of our generation. Before I start addressing how we feel about how the future should unfold, let me unpack the arguments the opposition gave as to show the fact that we consider these risks as huge. The larger the invention, the larger the responsibility. You invent the bow and arrow, you can do so much damage. You invent the AI, you can do much more. Trust, inequality of possession, bias, fake information, deep fakes, algorithms created by humans who are themselves manipulated, data incomplete, biased itself, polarization as a result, wrong conclusions, engineering manipulation, no public contest, no public tracking, surveillance, and basically George Orwell 1984. This is totally fair. I hear the fear in your voice, I hear the fear in mine. But let me be clear on how we see AI and what do we actually trust. Do we trust it to replace us? No. But do we trust it as a tool just as an archer trusts his bow? Yeah. The engineering capabilities of AI have proven to be incredible. And in a world where the scale and complexity outpaces the speed at which we can understand and govern it properly, AI might just be the solution to resolve that. Think of the time you look at a little line of ants going from the sugar back to the house, maybe 2 or 3. You can understand what's going on, it's organized. Now, have you tried to understand an anthill? The AI can, in real time, which makes it the very tool we need in order to compensate the fact that we put things into boxes. Our intelligence is limited by the fact that we can only see so many nuances. And once the problem gets too complicated, we start oversimplifying, which leads to ignorance and unmindful decisions. It's something that reflects what our opposition said, wrong conclusions, people that are undermined. Let me be clear on the fact that people being manipulated in the development of the algorithm and the algorithm being manipulated itself is a real risk, which is why in a room like this, in an institution like this, the UN should bring together every single person concerned with this future and concerned about these risks to build something better. We have technicians, we have neuroscientists, we have psychologists, politicians, and data scientists who can all work together in creating less bias, more clean data, because clean data is what's going to take away the bias. That's by definition. I jump 10 years into the future, we have quantum integrated computing. One of the possibilities with quantum is to create the perfect data set. So not only do we have a potential for non-bias, we also have a potential for an AI that actually reflects the ethics we want it to. We have an AI which we can understand every single billion parameter in that black box we talk with fear about. And we can start using it in a way we can fully understand. Until then, we have to take the leap. Thank you. So I would like to speak about an innovation of today instead of jumping too far in the future. I worked in healthcare and nursing, and I saw how there was a lack of information capabilities. The computer systems are outdated, the maternity uses pen and paper. I then went in the service of people for, like we cared for the elderly people, basically. A lot of cases had psychiatric problems. We were not trained to deal with these problems. A week ago, a third-year student in my school came to present a project on which he's working, an app, not an LLM, not based on the internet, but using the power of the computing technology can early detect psychiatric disease, which would save millions and millions and millions of dollars and hours and nurses.
Thank you very much. Albert. Charles, your turn to try to convince this House for this proposition or against this proposition.
Yes, thank you, André. I would like to begin with a word of the Professor Kabat-Zinn. He speaks about the present moment. And I think our topics, it's a lot about present moment. It's about temporality. What is AI? AI is a tools, an amazing tools. But what can AI do? AI can do what human can do, but very quickly. AI can help us to bring more quickly decision. So yes, it's an amazing tool, but it's still a tool. As stations say, trust does not exclude control. It arises from it. So, just to the beginning, it's a tool. It's not a juridical person. It was created by human, can be manipulated from politics, company, institution, question. So what is our problems? We should have the same value. Sadly, we live in a big world, and sadly, we don't have the same value in Middle East, Asia, Europe, America. So it's a lot about ethics. We should here at the United Nations construct legislation about our value, our ethics. It's also only a tool, algorithm, wish data. So there are a lot of risks. a risk of manipulation, fake data. Engineer can change how AI think. Just imagine if a billionaire, wealthiest people in the world were to control, I don't know, space company, car company, social media, and also be very close from a government, and can and also have a big part of AI. That can be very dangerous. Of course, nobody has this power today. And so, as I said, it's an amazing tool. And we are today at the beginning of a new area, like in the history with Industrial Revolution. True, we don't should to reject AI. As I say, it's an amazing tool. And you already use at the United Nations AI, I think. So yes, we should to keep AI to hey, it's an amazing tools. To the world is very quick today. We should use AI to calculate and to analyze all of the data we have, but it's still a tool. It's not a juridical person. And there are no audits inside this company. That's a big problem. There are audits for a lot of company, bank, but not for AI company. What is that? So it's our responsibility today in the institution to legislate on which law we should establish to protect the people against what other people can do with AI. Audit. And I would like to finish with that. In this chamber, we often speak of shared responsibility. Let us be clear. Delegating judgment to machine does not diminish our duty, it manifests it. If we choose to rely on AI blindly, we risk replacing human accountability with ethical opacity. Let us ensure that technology serves humanity, but never govern it. That's all.
Thank you very much. And I think the two teams deserve a huge round of applause. It's not over. They have questions, and I give 5 minutes to all of you. If you have a comment, questions, please present yourself and ask very briefly the questions. So anyone wants to take the floor? Our friend from the Order of Malta, definitely.
Gregory Tutton, a diplomat in the Order of Malta, but I've also been in technology since the early 1970s. I was in kindergarten when I was first at Caltech. So in that context, I think the thesis or the proposition hinged really on the adverb fully and the ability to then put complete trust in the system is something that we've actually never done with any technology system. So I admire both the pro side, which had an almost impossible task of somehow supporting fully, but also I think the con side did a great job outlining all the risks that we have. But I would say if we didn't have fully as the adverb for trust, I would probably go with the pro side. I like technology. And I think from an Order of Malta standpoint, these are exactly the kinds of tools and ways in which we need to be thinking, because there are so many adverse events that are emerging in ways that are too complex for us to immediately understand. And as the Order of Malta, we often end up on the back end of, once everything goes wrong, we, like the ICRC, have to figure out how to fix things that might become permanently broken. So if we could avoid breaking things, it would be nice to sort of move fast, but maybe not fully trusting fast moving, but trusting it as much as possible.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Hello, my name is Marlene Urschler. I work for RightsX. Just on the issue about the early warning and the prevention of mass atrocities, I just wanted to mention one element is that we often face already now is the data and information might be there. It's the action that is lacking, and that has many different reasons. So if you use AI, you might improve the quality of the data and the information that in foresight, in predicting what might be coming. Question is, will we have the coalition to act in response and to take the preventive measures? And this is something that we are facing in a daily struggle. Just a thought to share. Thanks.
Thank you. Other one there.
Hello, everybody. My name is Strahinja Trivkovic. I'm Youth Ambassador of Serbia, and I'm currently in the field of artificial intelligence. I want to add up on two wonderful comments and also to thank both sides on your arguments. And my question is for the side advocating the full implementation because of the fact that we're talking here about the fully trusted. In a world where we already face serious human rights violations, precisely because groundbreaking technologies often end up in the hands of bad actors, what concrete enforceable mechanisms would you propose to ensure that AI development, access, and deployment would remain strictly in the hands of responsible, ethical, and accountable actors, and not those who could weaponize it? Thank you.
Thank you very much for this very precise question. I have space for one more comment, intervention, question. No one? So then I give the floor to the team who was asked the question. Who wants to take the floor?
I'd like to address the question of trust. So, who do we trust? I think there's no better organization than the UN. No, seriously. We have to rethink it because right now tech giants are basically doing an arms race towards and barreling towards irresponsible development of AI. Everyone knows it. And we cannot let that deter us from using it in the right way. It's not because the tool is badly used that the tool can't be used well, at least in this case. And if a concrete initiative, something that came to my mind, was based on the fact of how many people care about this, how many people want to be involved in the future, and how many people actually feel the fear we all do. Like, let's be clear, this is no for and against, like we were talking with Charles in the cafeteria. This is a consensus on how to do it well. And there's no better place than the UN, once again. That is it.
Thank you very much. I think we can give another big round of applause to the teams. I was very impressed by their boldness, the amount of work they have put in this exercise, the quality of their arguments, but also I know the stress it is to speak in front of you in this building, which has such a strong history, and they really were amazing. And I have to say that while Professor Kabat-Zinn mentioned the fact that we have to be in the present, I couldn't stop thinking about the future when I was listening to them, because the future could be bright if these young students, these students grow and continue this path of trying to explain in a moderate way, bring arguments trying to find a consensus, and I think this was the perfect conclusion on a topic that is concerning everyone. So allow me now to go back to you to see how the vote has evolved, and I will start with those who are still undecided. Who is still undecided? Okay, great. You did a good job. The 4 or 5 people have now an opinion. Well done. Who is in favor of the motion that I can repeat, which is this House believes that humanity should fully trust and deploy artificial intelligence to preempt and prevent mass atrocities? Who is in favor? Okay. And who is against? Okay. The winning team is not the one who has the most votes. The winning team is the one who managed to convince and change the opinion. I don't know if there was, at least no one is undecided, so there was a change in that. Was there the undecided went to the against? I will look at the organizers to make a decision because, as always, as ICRC, I don't want to take side because I think they did a great job. And again, please give them a big round of applause. And with that, I hope you had a very nice start of the day and wish you a good end of conference.